I was born as Norma Black, and I was born at home. We lived in Ogden, and I was born at 2605 Van Buren Avenue in Ogden, Utah. And I had, let's see, at that time I had an older sister, an older brother, and then there was another sister and another brother, and then me. And the doctor that delivered me at home's name was Dr. Jensen, and that's my beginning. She grew up, then they moved to Sandy, and she grew up in Sandy. And it used to be really funny because we all laughed about Sandy because it was such a funny little town. And now Sandy is pretty popular town. I mean, you hear a lot of people that live in Sandy. And her mother ran a boarding house in Alta when Alta was a mining town. And my father was wanting to go on a mission, and so he was trying to earn money to go on a mission, and so he went to Alta to work in the mines. Well, it so happened at that time that my mother was living at home working, and she was helping in the boarding house, and she used to, you know, serve the meals and everything, and that's where my mom and dad met. And so then he was called, and I don't know how long he worked there, but anyway, then he was called on a mission to Ireland. And so he went on his mission, and when he came home from his mission, they kind of kept in touch with each other all while he was gone, and when he came home from his mission, they were married. My mother and I, and of course this is when I got a little bit older, but we'd sit, but all of us anyway, we'd sit at the dining room table and talk and just laugh and laugh. And especially my mother and I, when everybody else was in school or busy or doing something, you know, we'd just sit there and just talk and laugh, and just, you know, being together with my mother was very special. And these Twinkies, do you remember Twinkies? That was my mother and my specialty. We used to, when they came out, we used to always go buy a Twinkie. When we wanted something special, we'd go get a Twinkie. That's wonderful. But the things I remembered in Ogden, you know, we had a weeping willow tree in our yard there. And I used to love to play under that weeping willow tree. Take my dolls out there and just, I mean, I had baby dolls and other dolls. In fact, one of my favorite dolls was Barbara Ruth. And that's where your mother got her name, is Barbara. I can just see it pictured, that weeping willow tree. And every time I see a weeping willow tree, I remember this, you know, that's where I used to love to play. Anyway, there was a telephone in this house, in the little pantry room. I mean, it was, you know, where the breakfast table was and everything. And there was a phone on the wall, and you cranked it, and then put the thing up to your ear, and the operator would say, "Number, please," and then she'd ring them. And that was really pretty neat to have a phone, you know. I mean, we had one of those kind of phones in our house, and I remember it. My first grade, there was no kindergarten. We just started in first grade, and there were 2 first grade classes, and my teacher, we called her Miss B, but her twin sister taught the other first grade class, and she was just, well, I can kind of picture what she looked like, but she was just a really sweet lady, and I loved, you know, that. The 4th grade teacher was Miss Western, and I remember that somehow we made a quilt in Miss Western's room, and you know, just put all the things together and everything. And then a bunch of our, then we, they took it to our house, and a bunch of the parents and all came. And I remember, you know, sitting around the quilt, and the mothers were all talking and stuff, and all their kids from the class were playing underneath the quilt, you know. And so, and truly, every time we set up a quilt in here, I remember that, and I think of that very first quilt that I ever sat under and played, you know, with the kids in my 4th grade class. And it was, you know, that was a special thing to remember from there. I remember my 5th grade teacher. She was kind of mean, and she used to pull kids' hair, and she used to swat them with a ruler. And fortunately, I didn't get my hair pulled ever. I tried to be pretty good, but I was, you know, anyway.
Stay away from that.
Yes, but you know, the funny part about that story is when we moved here, and I met these people in our ward and talking, should I say their name?
It's okay.
Okay, well, it's Stevens. It's Winnie Stevens. That's my very great friend now. Anyway, this grade teacher of mine was her relative.